بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back, my dear students, to today's English lesson. What are we going to do in this lesson? Let's take a look. So we are still in unit 4. We're talking about past time, and today's lesson is going to be a writing lesson. But before we start the new lesson, let's take a look at the previous homework. What were you asked to do, and what did you do about it? Let's take a look. You were asked to answer these questions from the text or from your research. So let's take a look at the first question. How much does the hobby cost locally? Which hobby? We were talking about air modeling. So how much did it cost locally? So this is an answer. It can cost from hundreds until thousands. What about the next question? Where can people get air models? Now, where can people get air models in your country or from the text? So here's an answer. People can make air models or buy them. Some people can create these air models and fly them in the competitions. And some people can just buy the air models and try to fly it themselves. Now, the last question. Are there clubs or competitions anywhere in the country? So, what was the answer? Model airplane clubs. So, are there any clubs? So the answer is yes. But what is it? Model airplane clubs. So now that we are done with the homework, let's see where are we in this unit. We are done with all of these steps. Now today we are in the writing part of this unit. What are we going to do? By the end of the lesson, you will be able to write about unusual hobby or unusual pastime, and you will be able to write notes about a hobby and use gerunds and phrases. Gerund phrases. But before we start, let's take a look at these 4 pictures. What is a common thing between these pictures? What can you see in each one of these pictures? Let's take a look at the first one. You can see a little boy here. What is he holding in his hand? He's holding a camera. So maybe he's thinking about taking pictures in the jungle or in the safari. Now, what about this other picture? In the second picture, you can see this ball. So it looks like it's a kind of sport. So what is the name of this sport? It's golf. Now, what about the next picture? So what do you see here? What are the tools that you can see here? So look at the environment. You can see the water. You can see this tool, and someone is out there. So what is this tool used for? So this person is using this tool for what? It's for fishing. What about the last picture here? What can you see here? You can see the boy, and he's holding a what? What looks like a plane. So, do you remember in the last lesson when we talked about air modeling? So, looks like this boy is flying his airplane or air model. So, all of these can be hobbies. Are these usual hobbies, or can you call them unusual hobbies? So, for me, I think all of these are usual, normal hobbies, except for fishing. I didn't try fishing before. I think it's unusual. Now, let's take a look at this chart. We want to write notes in the chart about your hobby or your pastime activity. So, what are we going to do? Let's take a look at the questions first. Then we are going to try to answer these questions. So, the first question here, what's your hobby? So, what is the name of your hobby? The next question, what equipment do you need? What equipment do you need to practice your hobby? How about the next question? How often or how long do you do it? Some hobbies can be indoor and some hobbies can be outdoor. So if you have a hobby that it's outdoor, can you do it daily? So try to answer this question. The next question, where do you do it? So different hobbies can be practiced in different places. The next question, who do you do it with? Is someone helping you with your hobby? Are you sharing the same hobby with someone else? Now, the last question, why do you like it? Now, let's take a look at these 4 hobbies. We can fill the chart for each one of these hobbies, but I want you to try to fill the chart with your hobby. Now, let's take a look at an example here. Do you remember in the last lesson, in the reading lesson, we talked about air modeling? Jason and Eric, they were talking about the unusual hobby. So Eric said, I have an unusual hobby. He thinks his hobby is unusual, right? So let's talk about air modeling, the unusual hobby. Let's answer these questions. So what's your hobby? Air modeling. That's the hobby. What equipment do you need? So what are the tools, the equipment that you need to practice your hobby? Here, air models. That looks like planes. The air models. Now, how often or how long do you do it? So Rex said twice a week. Why? Because his hobby is, he must practice his hobby outdoor. So that means he needs to practice it on the weekend or sometimes when he doesn't have a lot of homework or a lot of things to do in the house. Now, how about the next question? Where do you do it? So this is a place on the beach. He can fly his air model on the beach. Now, how about the next question? Who do you do it with? He said, with my friend. So he can practice his hobby with his friend. Now, let's take a look. The last one here. Why do you like it? I like flying air models because he likes to do it. He likes flying the air models. Now, let's take a look at this one here. The last sentence. I like flying air models. Flying. What do you see here with the verb? The verb is fly. We have ing. I like flying, doing the action. I like flying the air models. Now, what do we call this? Gerund. So we can use it as a subject or a noun, or as object, or with infinitive. So what does that mean? We are going to take a look at it in the examples. Let's take a look. So the first part here, use it, the gerund, ing, the verb with ing as a subject or noun. Let's take a look at the example here. Painting is a relaxing hobby. Painting is a relaxing hobby. I know that painting is a verb, right? But the place of this verb with ing here is, we are going to look at it as if it's a subject or a noun. Painting is a relaxing hobby. So here we have the verb with ing or the gerund. Painting is a relaxing hobby. So what are we talking about? The action, we are talking about painting here as if it's a subject. Or here, playing football is a lot of fun. Playing football is a lot of fun. So it's going to look like this. Verb plus ing, or verb to be, painting is, or football is. Then the rest of the sentence. Painting is a relaxing hobby. Playing football is a lot of fun. And how about air modeling? Air modeling is an unusual hobby. Air modeling is unusual hobby. Now, let's take a look at the second use of the gerund. Use the gerund ing form as an object with the following verbs and phrases. Let's take a look. The word enjoy, the word feel, like, love, prefer, and spend time. So when we see these words before, the gerund is used as an object. Like this. Do you like playing sports? This is a question. Do you like playing sports? Look at the verb here, play plus ing, as if it's an object. Do you like playing sports? Or do you prefer watching TV? Do you prefer watching TV? So these are also examples here for the gerund phrases. Here we have the word like. After like, we have the word playing. You see play plus ing. Here we have the word prefer. After prefer, we have watch plus ing. What about the other example here? He spends his free time working out at the gym. Here we have more than one rule. Look, he spends. Why do we have S here with the word spend? Do you remember in the previous unit, we talked about the present simple? He spends. When we see he or she or it, we are adding S to the verb here. He spends his free time doing what? Working out in the gym. We have work plus ing. He spends his time doing what? What is the object here? Working out in the gym. Now, let's take a look at the third use. The verb like, love, and prefer can also go with the infinitive, like this. She likes to cook. It's not a verb plus ing. She likes to cook, or to make, or to do, to paint, any other verb you like. Let's take a look at the first one. She likes to cook in her free time. That's her favorite pastime activity. Now, why do we have S here with the word like? It's a rule from the previous unit. So we have S every time we see he, she, or it with the present simple. She likes to cook, or she prefers to make ethnic food. So just like every time we see it, we can use it as an infinitive with these words, like, love, or prefer. Here we have the word like. In the second example, we have the word prefer. Now, let's take a look at this text. What are you going to do? Read the text about Noura's hobby. Circle the gerund where it says a subject. If it's a subject, you are going to circle it. But if the gerund here is an object of the verb, you are going to underline it. Let's read it first, then we are going to circle or underline. Painting is my hobby. I enjoy drawing and painting pictures in my free time. I just need some paper, my paints and brushes, and my imagination. I don't have much free time, so I usually paint on weekends. I often spend 2 or 3 hours creating a picture. I paint in my room or in the garden because I like painting flowers and trees. I usually feel like painting alone, but sometimes my friend and I paint together. She's a good artist and she teaches me things. I love painting because it's a relaxing and creative pastime. Now, did you circle the subject and did you underline the object? Let's take a look. So let's start with the subject here. After reading this, look at the first part here. Painting is my hobby. So look at the word painting. So is it a subject or an object in the verb? Look, it's a subject. That's why we circled it. Here, painting is the subject. Paint plus ing. Painting is my hobby. Now, let's find another one. But let's find an object in the verb. I enjoy drawing and painting. Look, before that we have the word enjoy. I enjoy drawing and painting. So enjoying, drawing and painting here, it's an object for this verb. Let's find the next one. I often spend 2 or 3 hours creating a picture. I spend, look, we have the word spend. Do you remember when we talked about the word like, love, spend, prefer? So here we have the word spend and we have creating. Create plus ing. Now, let's find the next one. So the next one here is I like painting flowers and trees. So what's before painting? We have the word like. I like painting. Paint plus ing. Here it's in the position of object in the verb. Now let's find the next one. I usually feel like painting. Painting, here we have the word, before the word painting we have the word like. I feel like painting alone. So here, as it is in the position of an object. But I want you to take a look here. I usually, what do we call usually? It's a word of what? Frequency, right? I usually feel like painting alone. But sometimes my friend and I are together. Paint together. Now, let's see. Do we have another one? Yes. I love painting. Before the word painting, we have the word love. Love, like, prefer, just like in the second case here. I love painting because it's a relaxing and creative pastime. Now, let's take a look at this chart. So, write about your hobby or pastime. This is a writing lesson, so that means we must write something, right? Write about your hobby or pastime. Use your notes from the chart and ideas from this unit. Now, let's take a look. So we have this chart. We are going to fill the chart here with our hobby. Then we are going to collect these information together to write a paragraph or write a text. Let's take a look at the first question. What's your hobby? So the hobby here is taking pictures. Do you remember in the beginning of the lesson I showed you a picture of a boy taking photos of the animals, right? So that's the hobby. Your hobby is taking pictures. What equipment do you need? So if this is your hobby, what do you need to practice your hobby? You need a camera and you need a view to take a picture, right? How often or how long do you do it? I wrote here once a week. So how about like once a week in the weekend when we are done with our homework and we're done with our chores, I can go out and I can take pictures, right? Now, where do you do it? Because all I need is a camera and something to look at. I can do it everywhere. The next question, who do you do it with? I love taking picture with my friend. Now, why do you like it? I like it because I like saving pictures. I like saving pictures. Look, we have the word save plus ing. I like saving. And what do we have here before saving? We have the word like. Do you remember in the second case? We have the word like, love, prefer, spend before the verb with ing. Now, let's take a look. So, I gathered this information together and I wrote this text. And when you're reading this or when you're writing this, try to pay attention to the grammar rules, okay? So when you're writing these information together, let's take a look at the ing. Are we going to add s to the verb or ing to the verb? So to have a good text. I also added this picture of my hobby. Now let's take a look. So this is what I wrote after collecting the information. Taking pictures is my favorite pastime. All I need is my camera and a view of objects. I like taking picture once a week on the weekend. I can take pictures anywhere I like as long as I have my camera with me. I like taking pictures with my friend Noura. I like saving pictures of beautiful things and beautiful moments. So this is what I want you to do. Fill the charts, check these notes, and collect this information together and write a text. Now, what did we do in today's lesson? We did all of these. So we wrote about unusual hobby or pastime, and we wrote notes about a hobby, and we used gerund phrases as an object or as a noun or as a subject. So what are you going to do for your homework? So for your homework, you're going to do this. Because it's a writing lesson, I want you to practice more writing. List the activities you do in your free time Then write a paragraph about how often do you do these activities. Use frequency expressions and adverbs of frequency. So you're going to fill this chart about free time activities. List activities that you can do in the weekends, weekdays, and vacations. So you're going to list the activities here. Try to collect all of these information together and write a text. Okay, then we are going to check what are we going to do with this information and how did we do it in the next lesson. Thank you very much, my dear students, and I will see you in the next lesson.